You served in the Trump administration. I have to ask you about the news of the day. The news that former President Trump has posted on Truth Social just this morning that he expects to be arrested on Tuesday and is also calling for protests, telling his supporters to, quote, take our nation back. Your thoughts?
Well, just to explain, if he's about to be arrested, it almost certainly means he's going to be indicted first. He's going to be required to come in and surrender himself to answer to the indictment. So it's not some random decision. I strongly believe in a free society there's got to be one rule of law for everybody. I think that's clear. I don't know how you make that judgment when you're talking about a case involving somebody paying hush money to a prostitute or a stripper. I only know one person who's ever done that. I worked for him. It's a kind of strange situation. But I'll say this. However guilty Trump may be, and having very much in mind the one rule of law for everybody, if they indict and fail to convict in New York, I think historians would look back and say that is the act that reelected Donald Trump president. So I hope those prosecutors in New York are very, very certain of their case.
Well, I've opined here that in the four buckets that I perceive where he faces legal peril, this is, in my opinion, the weakest of them. And I have to believe that there's a risk here of this taint might not be the right word, but tainting the prosecutions that theoretically could follow. He's got a right to vigorously defend himself against this and any other charges that might flow. What I don't like is him calling for protests, because to me it's reminiscent of January 6th.
Well, I think this is an important issue. My own view on January the 6th is it was not an insurrection. It was a riot. It was one of the saddest days in American history, but it was not an attempted coup because I didn't think Donald Trump had the wits to conduct a coup. But now, having seen the history, if he's calling people into the streets, this time he's seen the experience of January the 6th, and I think this is potentially very dangerous. So again, people, law enforcement in New York obviously has to be concerned with the safety of the citizens of New York. But if something happens in this that allows Trump to make it into a campaign issue, it's going to be very serious. I know this must be galling to many people, but keep your eye on the ball is what I'd say. If you don't want Donald Trump to be elected president again, for God's sakes, be careful how you act.
I get your point. I mean, I think he risks surrendering the argument that this is a 7-year-old sex case when, if in fact it should lead to protest. Hey, I like to respond to social media in real time. Catherine, put something on the screen so that the ambassador and I can answer it together. I'll read it aloud, Ambassador. And he's calling for his minions to protest, says Gina. He was careful with his wording this time. He'll be out before his fingerprint ink can dry. Your thought?
Well, he'll be out of the surrender exercise on Tuesday, almost certainly. I mean, you go in, he's going to get his mugshot taken. That'll be interesting. And he'll be back in some safe location. We'll see what happens here. We'll see how many people are willing to turn out for him. It may turn out to be a bust. But I don't think law enforcement ought to do anything that gives him an excuse to say he's the most persecuted man in the world.